Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Ajanulambita Bujau Kanakavarato Sankirtanaika Pitaro Kamalaya Takshu Vishambaro Dujavaro Jugadharma Palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro. Hare Krishna. Woohoo. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Ju ki Jai. Tiriya Ratha Yatra Mahotsav ki Jai. Om Vishnu Pad Srila Bhakti Nirmala Charja Maharaj ki Jai. Chaitanya Saraswat Charja Vrinda ki Jai. Om Vishnu Pad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Om Vishnu Pad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Bhagavan Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur ki Jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Saparsad Shriman Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Harinama Sankirtan ki Jai. Gaura Premanande Hari Haribo. Alright, well, it is an honor, it is a pleasure to be gathered here with all of you on this very auspicious occasion, the observance of Sri Jagannath Dev's Ratha Yatra, annually here in Petaling Jaya or Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And we see many familiar faces who have been coming to the festival for many years. We also see some newcomers, so we're very happy to be gathered here with everyone. And again, it is very impressive to see how well everything has gone, all the beautiful festival arrangements made for the satisfaction of Jagannath, for all the devotees. So, in particular to Jaya Shri Didi and her family, who are here year-round, making this temple go on, and making this festival possible for all of us to participate in. We wish to convey our gratitude and appreciation. So can we have a round of applause? Right, beautiful. And also, this week we've had our youth camp with many children who've been participating very enthusiastically. So we hope that this is a nice climax and joyful celebration to conclude the camp. So in honor of all the children that are utilizing their precious human life right from the beginning to cultivate Krishna consciousness and nothing less, let's have a round of applause for our children as well. Right. Beautiful. So, Lord Jagannath and his Ratha Yatra. This is something that is very dear to the hearts of all the devotees of Sriman Mahaprabhu. And not only that, but dear to all Vaishnavas throughout the world. And to all people following the Hindu Dharma in general as well. And we can say in particular, due to the grand efforts of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, this festival of Ratha Yatra is now something celebrated not only in Jagannath Puri and not only throughout India, but all over the world. So here too, in Malaysia, annually this as well as other Ratha Yatra festivals take place. And we heard from Srila Gurudev, him mentioning that both A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, when he was a child, as well as children all throughout India, you will find them performing Ratha Yatra. Little children, they will gather some things in the yard, gather some things in the street, and they like to play in this way. They like to play in remembrance of the Lord and his pastimes. And this is a very auspicious thing. This is a very beneficial thing. That someone can grow up, and in the midst of growing up, their fun, their joy, their games are related to the Lord in His pastimes. This is very, very beneficial for their spiritual future. So, as Gurudev put it, Srila Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada did not forget his youth when later he traveled all throughout the world, spreading the movement of Sriman Mahaprabhu, spreading Krishna consciousness. And there he instituted this sort of festival of Ratha Yatra. So it is something that in general is known to be greatly uplifting to the public, a great demonstration of the Lord's divine mercy. And on the other hand, in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, through the exclusive and very refined revelation of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, we hear about the profound depth of meaning and significance found in the Ratha Yatra by Sriman Mahaprabhu and Srila Rupa Goswami. So this marks the span of the Ratha Yatra and how it is dear to the devotees, from the most liberal to the most high and exclusive. And everywhere in between, we find in the Ratha Yatra all features, all layers of Gaudiya Siddhanta. And in particular today, I was listening to a talk of Param Guru Maharaj, and he was speaking about Jagannath, speaking about Purshottam, and saying, Lord Jagannath's Purshottam is very famous, and is associated with his quality of being Patit Pavan, Dinabandhu, the savior of the fallen, the friend of the humble, the friend of the poor. And we hear in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita this phrase, Dine Reya Dikka Daya Kore Bhagavan, that the Lord gives more mercy to the poor, more mercy to the humble, more mercy to those who feel themselves to be low, to be undeserving. The Lord gives the most mercy to them. Simply, it is a law of attraction. It is the fulfillment of a necessity. Those who feel a necessity, there the Lord comes. So, what is our most fundamental external necessity in this life? It is food. And this is the basic necessity of life. To propagate itself, we require food. But in this present world, it is not a wholesome thing to acquire. In other words, so many must be sacrificed so that one may live. Jivo jivasya jivanam. One living being's life is another living being. This is the harsh nature of the world. One will have to die so that another can live. So, we are inevitably acquiring reactions. We are inevitably entangling ourselves in the web of karma. Just by breathing, just by eating, just by continuing our existence in this world. And that karma produces future suffering, that karma produces future unrest. And this is the difficulty, this is the challenge that every living being is facing in this world, that every living being is experiencing life after life in their sojourn through samsara. So, if we could fix this problem, if we could find a way to eat, if we could find a way to continue our existence without entangling ourselves in that karma, without entangling ourselves in suffering, that would be the beginning of something great. That would be the beginning of a life really worth living, a life really successful and wholesome. So as Param Guru Maharaj put it, the whole solution is there in one word, Prashadam. That in Prashadam we find this fundamental adjustment, this fundamental balance, wherein we can live without entangling ourselves in karma. So if we can learn to appreciate Prashadam, learn to honor the Lord's Prashadam, then that will unfold, that will lead to all the higher spiritual development that our heart is hankering for in a more suppressed or a more clear way, depending on our present state. And it's not only that we're sitting here and trying to figure this out, but rather the Lord knows this very well. He knows about this solution, He knows about this key to life very, very well, far better than we do. And we find in particular in His form of Lord Jagannath that He is very generous and very eager to see that everyone gets a good taste of this solution. That everyone gets a good chance to have the fortune of honoring His Prashadam. So we hear from Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, Prasad Seva Korite Hoy Sakala Prapancha Jai. That we can conquer over the whole of this phenomenal world by honoring Prashadam. But what does it mean to honor Prashadam? It doesn't mean to eat so many things that we find tasteful. Rather, it marks a fundamental shift in our perspective. A fundamental shift in consciousness, actually. And that is from being the subject to being the object. Being the enjoyer to being the servant. To honor Prashadam means to appreciate how something has been tasted, how something has been enjoyed by Jagannath, rather than seeing something as only an object and experience of my enjoyment. So this in particular was leveraged by Shri Damodar Prabhu. When Mahaprabhu was in Puri and the devotees were very eager to offer him many types of prashadam, many types of Jagannath's prashad. Then Mahaprabhu, setting the example of a renunciate, showed reluctance and disinterest to accept so many items, especially some of the more opulent items. But the devotees wanted that Mahaprabhu would have these things. So Surab Damodar, the ultimate expert in etiquette and subtlety, he knew just how to phrase this. It matters very much exactly how you put it. If you just put the prashadam there, that will not do. You must very finely present this in a way that Mahaprabhu can accept. So, how did he say it? He said, "My Lord, please see what has been offered to Jagannath and how he has tasted it. See here what Jagannath is tasting. Just accept this as it was presented to Jagannath. See what sort of devotion, what sort of fine things have been prepared and offered to Jagannath. Appreciate that offering of devotion. Appreciate those things that the Lord is enjoying." And Mahaprabhu could not resist. This request, this suggestion, if it says, "Oh look, we've got this, great meal for you." No. He won't take it. But where this point is intact, where we are not the subject, we are not in the mentality of the enjoyer, but rather we are in the mentality of the servant, the mentality of the provider of enjoyment for the Lord, the mentality of one who wants to honor and further devote oneself to the Lord. That posture within our consciousness is the essence of progress, or how we may progress spiritually. So, how to honor Prashadam? It means this: to appreciate what Jagannath has tasted, to appreciate what sort of satisfaction is being given to him, to admire the efforts of the devotees, making such efforts to satisfy him, to admire what sort of things have been grown, what sort of things have been collected, what sort of things have been prepared for his satisfaction, and to appreciate that as something greater than ourselves, as something instructive for ourselves, Here, such care has been taken to present such a fine thing to the Lord. In comparison to that, my efforts are very meager. My efforts are very small. Right? To see what sort of wonderful Purshottam is there that has been tasted by Lord Jagannath, it is a humbling thing. It is something that draws out a greater fervor, a greater desire to serve the Lord. And that growth of the spirit of service, that growth of the inspiration to serve, is what can free us from the mentality of enjoyment and all the karma, all the entanglement that it brings us into. And it can protect us from the tendency of being carried away, being pulled away by the senses. Right? The senses are constantly pulling on us. They're like so many ropes pulling us in different directions. And as we sing every day, right, when we take Purshottam, right, Tara Modya Jiva Ati Lobhamoy Sudur Moti. Amongst the senses, which one is the strongest? Which one is the worst? The tongue. The tongue is voracious. The tongue is so greedy. The tongue is what can you say, shameless in its capacity to take more and more and more. And the more you give it, it's not that you give it more and now, okay, it's done. Now it's ready. You can't give it enough. The more you give it, the more it's ready to take. Comparable to a fire. Right? The more you put into the fire, the stronger the fire burns. Whoa. Such intensity. So of all the senses, the tongue is the strongest. And of all the senses, the one that by gratifying which you get the most karma is also the tongue. So watch out. Right? This is the danger of material existence. The thing that's the most entangling is also the most captivating. So, right in that crux of life, right in that edge, where we're confronting the strongest pulls of material nature, if we can find the medicine, if we can find the solution, whereby that can be thwarted, whereby that can be checked, then we have great hope, we have great prospect. So right there at the crux of life is Purshottam. Right there as the turning point in our spiritual path, the turning point in our eternal journey, that we can give up this disease of being an enjoyer, give up this ego of wanting to make the world revolve around me, of seeing only things only as means by which I can achieve some concocted selfish agenda. But rather to see these things belong to Him. These things are all meant for His satisfaction. Who should be satisfied? He should, and no one else. What is our objective? That He will be satisfied. If He is satisfied, all are satisfied. Tasmin tushte jagat tushtam. In His satisfaction is the satisfaction of the world. It is not necessary to endeavor to satisfy anyone else. If fully He is satisfied, all shall be satisfied. If He is pleased, all really will be pleased. So thus He is known as Jagannath, the Lord of this world. It's His world. It's for Him to enjoy. And if we can appreciate that by honoring His Purshottam, by seeing the things of the world utilized to satisfy Him, then our consciousness can become pure. Our senses can come under control. And we can start to put into practice, start to apply the teachings of our Gurudev, the teachings of the scriptures, and thereby feel something of our eternal nature. Feel something of the innate joy, the innate beauty that's found within us. And not only us, but everyone. In the very nature of the soul. Jivara Sharup Hoy, Krishnera Nityadas. That our eternal nature is to be a servant of Krishna. And not in enjoyment, but in service we shall find that we are Sat, we are Chit, and we are Ananda. That service is eternal. That service is the most conscious thing. That service is inherent in our spiritual nature. And in that service is an unparalleled joy. A joy far greater than any selfish attainment can ever produce. So, Lord Jagannath, especially on the day of his Ratha Yatra, is very eager to see that others may receive his prasad. So to offer something to Jagannath, who gets the chance? Right? Very few people. In his temple in Jagannath Puri, it is very exclusive who has the fortune to cook and make offerings to him in the temple. It is not a public affair. You cannot sign up. There's no application. There's no way into that Seva. Right? It's closed for a select, special, blessed few. But on the day of Ratha Yatra, what happens? The Lord comes out, and everyone who's not regularly able to receive his darshan, they're able to have his darshan. And everyone who's not able to cook for him, who's not able to offer anything to him, that day, no rules, front, back, 10 feet, 10 meters, 100 meters, from all sides, anywhere, anyone can come and make their offerings to Jagannath. And he graciously is eager to accept all of that. We hear about that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in a place called Balagandhi, where during his journey, Lord Jagannath stops beside a garden, and then people come 360 degrees around, thousands, tens of thousands of items quickly brought, and everyone, by any sorts of means, mantra, no mantra, heart, spoken, quiet, prayers, bows, none of the above, all of the above, any means, people are making their offerings to Jagannath, and he is mercifully accepting them. So what a wonderful distribution of grace. Right? His grace is that he takes. Right? For everyone else, their grace is that they give something. But for Jagannath, for the Lord, his grace is that he takes, that he accepts something from us. And also on the Ratha Yatra, in doing so, he comes out of his temple and gives mercy to everyone. We know as Western persons, we're not allowed to enter the temple of Jagannath. And we happily respect that, just as our gurus, Rupa Goswami Prabhu, Sanatana Goswami Prabhu, Haridas Thakur, the highest Vaishnavas, they also thought, okay, if there is any possibility that I may create any disturbance there, that something may be disturbing to the service of Jagannath, then why shall I wish to enter? My only purpose is that he shall be satisfied, not that I have any curiosity or sense of privilege or wish to demonstrate any sense of belonging or status by entering the temple. No. Howsoever he shall be satisfied, let that be. But on the day of Ratha Yatra, Jagannath comes out and gives darshan to everyone, even those who cannot enter the temple. But we heard Param Guru Maharaj mention something about Gandhi. That Gandhi fought so much for equal rights among society. And he was opposed to a caste consciousness and things like that. So when he came to Jagannath Puri, he did not like the policy of the temple, that untouchable certain persons were not allowed to enter the temple. So he didn't go in. Gandhi, known for his strikes and fasts and things like that. These may be honorable things in the plane of morality in the world, but to even have a strike or a non-participation against the temple of the Lord, this is going too far. This is unfortunate, right? But we heard from Guru Maharaj, but Gandhi's wife, she still wanted to go in the temple. But Gandhi said, no, you're not allowed to go, because we have to make changes in society. But defying Gandhi, she went anyway in the temple. She went to have darshan of Jagannath, right? To say, we will not think that by some, political demonstration of cooperation or non-cooperation, that we will try to make some change upon the policy of the Lord. Right? In the words of Gurudev, the will of the Pandas is the will of Jagannath. Very simple. The will of the Panda is the will of Jagannath. What the Pandas do is the will of Jagannath. Not necessary to think anything more. So, what is the will of Jagannath? We all appreciate that. We don't complain, we don't want to make some non-cooperation demonstration to try to change this policy. No, rather, we rejoice on the day of Ratha Yatra when Jagannath himself comes out and gives darshan to all in a very liberal way. In the words of Gurudev, throughout the year many may not have his darshan, but on the day of Ratha Yatra everyone can come and embrace Jagannath free of restrictions. So, the Lord gives the most mercy to the poor, to the humble. And this is illustrated in Ratha Yatra. And his, perhaps not giving his darshan to everyone, we will not think that this is some lack of mercy upon them throughout the year. Rather, we will think this is increasing their appetite, increasing their hankering, so that they may have an even more thrilling experience of again having his darshan at that special time. And really, so we may say this is the theme of Jagannath's Ratha Yatra, satiating a long-standing hunger. In the case of those who seek his Purshottam, then he distributes Purshottam very liberally on that day. On the case of those who wish to have his darshan, then at long last he gives his darshan to them on that day. And going deeper, right? Where is Jagannath going during the Ratha Yatra? Jagannath, as we hear in Chaitanya Charitamrita, is journeying from Dwaraka back to Vrindavan. From Nilachal to Sundarachal. And why is that? Because the devotees of Brajadam, their appetite, their hankering for Krishna's association is so intense that he must go and fulfill their hunger. So this is how Gurudev described it. Jagannath going out on Ratha Yatra, he is fulfilling the hunger of the devotees of Vrindavan, because they have much anticipation. As he told them in Kurukshetra, Mayi bhakti hibuttanam amrita tvaya kalpate dishtya dyarasin matsneho bhavatinam marapana. Where he told them, many people worship me, many people may have devotion to me, but mainly that is because they desire liberation. They desire something for themselves. But you don't have any devotion to me that has some secondary motivation. Rather, you have pure affection for me. You simply have affection for me. There is no other cause, no other conception involved. And as the verse is read in different ways, it is said, either by your fortune you have devotion to me, or by my fortune you have that affection for me. And in both readings, what does it mean? Bhavatinam marapana. And thus it is sure that we will meet again. We will be reunited. Your affection for me is your guarantee. The Lord's nature is to be merciful to the humble, to be merciful to those who are in need. So that you have affection for me, that you have some taste, some appetite, some hankering for my association, that is itself the guarantee that you will have me again. Someone may have some doubt because earlier the Lord said in this connection, as Gurudev described, Na pare hum niravadya samyujam, that the Lord told the devotees of Braja, I cannot sufficiently reciprocate with your devotion. You have cut off everything to come and serve me, but I cannot do the same for you. Meaning, I have so many devotees, I cannot cut off one to satisfy the other. I cannot cut off everyone only for you. But you have cut off, left everything else for me. So I am unable to actually reciprocate with your devotion. Let your own virtue be its reward. Let your virtue be its own reward. Let your own sacrifice, let the taste of that sacrifice be its own compensation to you. These are the words of Krishna earlier on. But here in the Ratha Yatra, we find that Jagannath, that Krishna here in the form of Jagannath, he does not stop. He thinks, I must go. I must return to them. I cannot stay away. And that is the joy of Sriman Mahaprabhu. That is the joy of the Rupanuga Vaishnavas during the Ratha Yatra. That the hunger in the hearts of the residents of Braja will again be fulfilled by Krishna's return. So Jagannath is that unique eternal form of the Lord, whose mood is that of Dwaraka, but with some special attraction or some special presence of Vrindavan within. So, in this higher Prakrita sense, in this general sense, and even into the poor, to the untouchables, everywhere, Jagannath is most merciful. Jagannath is eager to satisfy the hunger, the hankering in the hearts and also the stomachs of all his devotees. So, it is most auspicious to be gathered here in remembrance of all these things and to participate in this beautiful Ratha Yatra festival. So, in this spirit, if we can remember these things and continue our festival, we will be most highly benefited. Jai Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Jai Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Ju ki Jai, Tadiya Ratha Yatra Mahotsav ki Jai, Hare Rama Sankirtan ki Jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
जय श्री सोमनाथ श्रीपाद भक्ति समाचार्य जी महाराज की जय, इसको हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे
हरि बोल. So next on the bill is the drama. So we're hearing something about Jagannath, so now we're going to have a drama describing the appearance of Lord Jagannath.